Hello everybody and welcome to another Transformers third party review. With Zeta being in the TF news at the moment with their up and coming Unicron, I thought now is as good a time as any to jump on the Zeta bandwagon and take a look at the ZA06 Bruticon box set. Now of course we have already had a Zeta Toys version of Bruticus. This is just their nod towards a more G1 kind of anime inspired variation. Comes in a massive chunk of a box set covered in polystyrene. Apparently it's a polystyrene magnet, but as you can see, even by looking at this photograph on the front there, he's done in a much more kind of animation inspired color scheme with the matching feet. We've got the grey over the hips and this light grey around the waist, and then we've got the purple on that chest, and he comes with that G1 animation style head as standard, something which was available for the previous incarnation but as an additional piece. Got some gorgeous artwork on the side there, and then we've got a kind of an almost anime inspired picture on the back there of him looking very armoured, very robust and fighting somebody. But who is he fighting? Maybe we're going to get the Superion box set done in a slightly more G1 colour scheme, and that's going to tally on to the side and we can join the boxes together. And just on the last side we get to take a look at the members. We've got Takeoff, Blitzkrieg, Wellblade, Uproar and Racket. Right, out of the box he comes packaged in this really nice big chunk of foam. We get a monstrous instruction manual and collector's cards. That's like a poster all in itself, and everything is packed really nicely into said parcel. We've got the top layer with Onslaught, Blast Off and Vortex, and you've got the feet over there and the cannons as well as the heads. There are two heads in the set. We get this kind of G1 inspired head, and then we get the repaint of the original head that came with Bruticus. And then on the second layer we get the leg accessories, we get Swindle, and we get Brawl, as well as all of the additional parts such as Brawl's tracks, fillers for any of the parts, and we've got some rubber there to put down on the feet as well. And then we get all of their weapons. Again, all done in this new kind of G1 inspired colour scheme. So without further ado, I'm going to get all of these out of the box, posed up, and we'll take a closer look. And here they are, all out of the packaging. I haven't got them completely all changed up. Still got a couple of the accessories to one side, and I haven't put some of the screw pegs in. Now, full-on disclaimer, Onslaught at the back there. He's got one grey shoulder piece and one blue, and waiting for the second blue to come through. This was a pre-production that was sent around through the reviewers, and they hadn't put the correct shoulder in, but they've got the correct one coming, and retail will have both blue. Unfortunately, I've just been sitting on this thing so long, I think the official retail release has actually already been released, so there we go. But we get all of the extra accessories, we get the additional hands, etc. We get the large cannon done in this new colour scheme, and we get the rubber pads to put on the base of the feet. Absolutely adore how these look. The colours are definitely much more in keeping with the original animation style that they've gone for. Absolutely adore Onslaught, especially. Brawl again is a very nice colour. Swindle really does kind of pop now, vastly superior. Let's give you an idea of how they compare. Here we have the Blast-Offs together. See, they have changed that up something rotten. This one's definitely kind of more toy inspired, and this one's definitely kind of more inspired by the animation. I think it's definitely more cartoony. The sculpt, in all intents and purposes, does look the same, I believe. Don't think there's any real differences there, but the brown is definitely slightly darker, and they've replaced a lot of the blacks with greys, and I'm much preferring this grey torso piece. And here we have a Vortex. As you can see, again, huge difference in colour there. Again, If you're a toy fan, then personally I do think the original Zeta versions do definitely kind of ring more true to those original toys. I don't have the original Bruticus, I haven't had that for some time. These are great figures that you can actually pick up and play with, aren't they? As much as I love how the Fans Toys Silverbolt looks, I think that's what Zeta have over the likes of Fans Toys, and at the moment they can just pick up and mess around. It's not a mission to chop and change and transform your figures. It's an enjoyable experience. Actually really love these greys and blues that they've used for Vortex. Really nice clean colours, and he looks outstanding. They managed to make it pop slightly more, I feel. The chest and waist area is now slightly different. The decal around this section here is different. I believe the head sculpt is the same, although it does appear to be more slender. That may just be me. That being said, I am missing the cap just off the front here. It was in the box when we got him out, so it must be somewhere amongst all of these parts. I've got the studio absolutely covered at the moment with parts of both Bruticus, so I don't know what I've done with it. It's here somewhere. Yours will come with 2 parts for your niece. But I have no idea what I've done with mine. It's got to be here somewhere. But yes, he looks outstanding in comparison. Now, in some people's opinions, this is the weakest of all of the figures. Personally, I do like Swindle being a Hummer. I think that's kind of brought more into the 21st century. But at the same time, a lot of people liked him being the Jeep Willy, which I can completely understand. Obviously, if you do decide to have this as your toy version, you could always just flip out the chest and have the alternative function. But you can do that with both of these figures as well. This is definitely far more G1 accurate in terms of colours. That purple is delightful. Still not a huge fan of that head sculpt, but it definitely looks a lot better being cast in that lighter colour as opposed to the dark that they used for the original. With Brawl, I'm never sure whether you're meant to have the tank up at the back or down. I've got it hoiked up on this one and down on this one, but again, colours are definitely more in keeping with the animation. Love the grey that they've used for the torso. Really good looking figure, and again, painting up that head sculpt with the additional brown on the faceplate really does make it pop. It does look leaps and bounds better. No, I have not put the tread on yet. It's more of an annoyance than anything else, I think. I know people, if you want it to look the part, then yes, the option is definitely there. We do get the caps as well, which plug in to these beds on the treads as well. But personally, I think he looks fantastic, but those treads are a pain in the backside to put on. And last but by no means least at all is their Onslaught. As you can see, there is a vast difference in colours here. This real deep blue that they've used for the newer version is absolutely ravishing. Absolutely adore it. Do prefer that kind of red on the mask of the original though, but beggars cannot be choosers. And yes, I haven't mounted the cannons on the back of this Onslaught. Like I said, I literally just broke down Bruticus just to compare him here in a video to give you an idea of how these differ in colour. Majority of the figure I think is pretty much the same, but this definitely works nonetheless. Really love how it looks. I think just by messing around with all of these figures in hand, these do feel slightly more refined. I guess they've kind of improved. They've given us a Superion since the initial release of their Bruticus. This definitely works. It's a very fun figure. It scales remarkably well still with your MP toys. It might not be to everybody's taste, MP aesthetic wise, but for me, I think it definitely works. Do you need both in your collection? Probably not. Depends on what you want. If you want a toy inspired or if you want that animation look. And those of you curious about size, here they all are alongside MP10. They're all a large Voyager scale, with Onslaught being easily more of a leader to supreme class figure. Again, keeping pretty much on par with the likes of Fans Toys. These leader figures are bigger. It's not personally a choice I would have gone for. I'd like them all to have been the same sort of size, especially when you get figures like this and like what Fans Toys are doing, and they're basically a bot that turns into part of the torso and is encased within a shell. I don't really think they need to have these as big as they are, but then that's just me. Maybe I'm just being very picky. And here we have the torso and waist panel together for a comparison. You see these are pretty much identical, albeit the paint apps are different, but that lighter colour, the white, the greys, really does make all of this section pop. Personally, I do prefer this animation look for the torso and head, but again, it's not for everybody. Right, here we have them all transformed up into their vehicle modes. I kind of had to do it at this kind of angle thing just so we can get everything into shot, but the vehicle modes are pretty darn awesome. Not really visually much different to their original counterparts, albeit the colours are just that much more vibrant. I mean, I absolutely adore Blast Off. It's got a little purple guns there. Big solid lumps. I don't think I'll tab that in properly, but really love how these have turned out. Vortex as well. Everything spins as it should, and of course we do have the missile pods that do fire. Just press the button and there we go. They do fire out. That's something I really kind of miss from official toys, like we've got with the old Hasbro, when they didn't really care about health and safety of children. Swindle, great compromise there of his modern look and how he now, and of how he should have looked back as a toy. And we can place that gun on the top there. Really do like that, and I love the movement on that front axle. Again, it tidies up really nicely, although this should be down like so. But yep, you see I've got these wheel covers inserted inside each of those tyres, covering up the inside of the rims. And then I've got Onslaught here in his truck mode, and I've got the wide axle at the back here. We've got Brawl in his tank. Again, I haven't put the treads on, I haven't just covered up these screw holes and pins yet. I will do that. I think I will put the treads on. It's just they're quite annoying. Fan of how the treads look. I'm just not a fan of their practicality. They kind of get in the way a little bit for me. For small hands, I've got sausage fingers. And of course, this section on the back of Onslaught, this is wider angle setup here on the back of Onslaught, so we can carry the wider loads in and out. And of course, we can chop this out. We can change this back panel, remove it, and then bring these legs in together, flip these down, and have the legs as a long, thin section. And there's also the kind of mock-up that they've done. You can see pictures of it on Zeta's Facebook and Weibo page, where they turn the chest section and the legs into some sort of base. I'm not a fan of that. These are parts forming pieces. Fans Toys look to be doing it as well. I'm happy to have parts forming pieces. I don't necessarily need them to be incorporated like they would with Omega Supreme, for example. I mean, he is 90% parts forming, isn't he, Omega Supreme? So I'm happy for him to have base mode, etc., because that's what we were used to. I know these had a base mode back in G1, but even then I thought that was clutching at straws. I did like that we can interact with them all. Personally, I'm more than happy just to have very kind of cartoon-inspired coloration and a really good-looking Bruticus. And here we have him fully combined up, and he is actually solid. I had a lot of problems with my first version of Bruticus around the leg joints. They weren't quite holding in as tightly as I'd like, but I think they've adjusted the resistance on those, because he is a solid, chunky monkey. He is not going anywhere. The arm joints are really nice and tight, and the colours are just radiant. They really do pop. Now, as much as I love my original version of this, it's going to have to go. This is just leaps and bounds better, in my opinion. Now, I've got the arm up far too high on there, but I mean, the joints are nice and solid. The arm joints do not want to pop out. They don't move these top sections here at all. There's no vibration on those, and just having everything tucked in nicely. This all pegs in remarkably well. It's all very, very sturdy, and the overall look and feel is exceptional. To show you what I mean, if we just move these arm joints, this part here is not popping up at all. These still tend to unpeg, but the whole head section tabs in really quite nicely. As to the legs, no movement there whatsoever. This again is popping out at the side slightly, but the actual knee joint itself, that's where we had the initial trouble, and there's nothing there at all. He's still got a bit of rocking motion going on, but that can be rectified by the sliding of the hips. So these can just slide forwards and backwards slightly just to counter balance. But my goodness me, what an amazing feat. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, my favourite version of Bruticus. What a stocky little chap, isn't he? Yeah, just to give you an idea, here he is with MP10, TE01, and of course Siege Skyfire or Jetfire. Really love how this looks. I can't express my delight for the set enough. Leaps and bounds better than the first version. If you get to pick from the two, go for this one without a shadow of a doubt. Now I've got my fat little child fingers crossed now for a G2 coloration to go alongside my X-Transbot G2 figures, because I absolutely adore a G2 vibrant version of this figure. I was looking at getting the G2 version of Devastator from Toy World. The yellow one appeals to me, but I really wanted to get the orange one. But my goodness me, what a leap up in cost in comparison. Extortionate in comparison to his yellow cousin. Cannot justify that for the life of me. My wife would absolutely destroy me. For the price you'd pay for that G2 Devastator, you could order a Unicron. That's how expensive it is. Once again, I'd like to thank Robot Kingdom for making this review possible. I've included a link where this can be ordered as a box set. Honestly, cannot recommend it enough. It's a big, solid piece. And hand on my heart, this is leaps and bounds tighter and just kind of more professional looking than their first rendition of it, which is crazy because in essence it is the same mold. It's just those fine-tuning, just those tweaks, and that fine-tuning really has made the world of difference. It'll include a link just up here in the top of the video where you can view the original video of this in fully combined mode with lots and lots of comparisons. And until next time, for myself and the ZA06 Bruticon box set from Zeta Toys, goodbye.